we had like, Manchester, all the explosions and like it's Spain and like fire and blah blah. We didn't have that stuff in that way. It was very few and far between. So it was just very there was an intimacy that I think I really enjoyed that I could carry through the rest of the shoot.
Oh my goodness. I am such a big fan of Culprits already. It's already come out in the UK. It's about to drop in the US. So how are you both feeling surrounding the release?
I'm really excited. It's really, I mean, we finished quite a while ago, so it's kind of like slightly unbelievable. It's like all like rolling out. I'm really excited to see people see it.
I'm so excited for everyone to see this. Yeah, as Nathan said, it felt like we wrapped it too long ago, Nathan. Yeah, and it's like this amazing series that there's so many people that worked their asses off to make it happen, and so now people get the opportunity to see it and see how much, like, I had an absolute blast making this. So it's like finally I could talk about it. I was like, see, that's the thing that I shot for a year. ran around and did loads of stunts and jumped through windows. And
I love a good heist series. I love that they're action packed. I mean, they're unpredictable. But what do you feel differentiates Culprits from other series that fall under this genre?
I think that there is a certain groundedness to the series. I think with Joe and Joe's family, and Jules and the kids. I think there's also the structure in terms of that you start after the heist, so there is, you kind of, you know what's happened. You know it's the 3 years later, 3 weeks later. Listen to me, 3 years later, and then you unpiece the heist as you go. And I think that's an amazing way to start it. You kind of like, how did this happen? How did this come to pass? But I do think that there's something with the groundedness of having a family after that is the heart of the story. I think is really amazing. And then it's funny. I mean, I like that it's sharp and it's funny.
Kind of on that same note, Nathan, I mean, there are varying sides to Joe depending on which identity he's currently operating under. But when you had to get to the heart of this character, who is he underneath it all to you?
I think he was someone incredibly lonely. And in that sense of, he didn't trust himself or other people at certain points. And it's weird because I'm just thinking now in terms of like Specialist, Niamh's character. There were there's such a similarity between these two people with like a certain code, like belief in certain codes, and that they were alone. But Specialist was very comfortable with that, at least from my point of view. And I'm sure Niamh can talk about her character, but from my point of view, was very comfortable. And I think that David wasn't. David needed something to hold on to love, to be loved, to be a sense of community. So I think that's really was at the root of something. And I said that everyone went through this heist and got loads of money, and I think Vincent got like a villa, and everyone did stuff. Fuse's house was huge, but David just wanted it, and then became Joe. Wanted a really normal life. Wanted something that was very, very ordinary. And there's like a humility to him and a simplicity. I think that made me kind of tap into like, actually, this is about someone that is lonely. But I think that there's a difference between David and Specialist there, where Inga's chill about being alone.
Well, yeah, Niamh, to talk about your character. I mean, listen, I just think she's so cool. She's such a badass. She's incredible. So I would love to know if there was anything that you wanted to bring to her that wasn't necessarily on the page.
It was a great character that, Jay wrote. So it was, as, you've got the script and you've got the scenarios that these people find themselves in. And what was really fun about Psycho was that, as Nathan says, is that she doesn't choose people. She's very isolated. She chooses to kind of live in this kind of solitude, and finds peace and comfort in that, and lives very much like on a means basis. And it was more so kind of figuring out like what she did in between the heist and where she is in present day. She finds herself in Norway in a shack up a mountain, and she's just an absolute bliss. And I thought that was like a fascinating kind of jumping off point from it. Like, why does someone choose to completely isolate themselves? And for me, it's like having this nickname of Psycho therefore goes against all that, because I don't believe that someone could live in complete isolation by themselves if they themselves weren't mentally stable. And that was kind of interesting, is that she feels like she's actually very much together and chooses not to emotionally invest in others, because that kind of gets in the way of being able to do her job. And so once she starts to, I suppose, connect with, I suppose Nathan's character in this, is that she finally finds that now I can't do my job because now I have to start caring about someone. And that's when the mistakes begin. And you can see this person, you know, transform and progress into someone else. And I thought that was really fun to just find that interesting psychological nuance.
You just touched on this actually, but the series does switch between, you know, before and after. And you guys shot the scenes in America first, correct? You did. Okay. Yeah. So how did that help, or I mean, maybe make it more difficult to get into your character's headspace, considering that, you know, you were shooting these two different blocks of time?
It made it easier. Shooting the stuff over here made it just so much easier, and really the time spent with the family really established something, so I could think about them all. You know, I'd met them all, I'd spent time with them, we'd done the scenes together. So in the UK and in Spain, I kind of could carry that. It definitely made it easier. And even though I felt like there was certain, like, obviously filming, you know, scenes are always hard. Sometimes, oh, this is like difficult. There was something quite small about that set. Like, it wasn't have massive things, you know, like we had like Manchester, all the explosions, and like it's Spain and like fire and blah blah. We didn't have that stuff in that way. It was very few and far between. So it was just very there was an intimacy that I think I really enjoyed, that I could carry through the rest of the shoot.
Well, I mean, there's obviously so many stunts in a show like this. I mean, from moving garbage trucks to shootouts. So can you guys maybe talk to me a little bit about the prep work you did and how much of these sequences were you versus body doubles?
We had body doubles, but a lot of the stuff was us. I feel like when it could be us and should be us, it was us. I mean, we prepped like, we're not going to talk about the trash can, but we prepped like Julian Spencer, our stunt coordinator, really prepped us with guns and stuff, and took us through an education of how to dismantle one and how to use it. Like, really, you know, he took us through it. I think he is ex-army, as they would say in the UK, and really kind of has a great knowledge of that world, and gave that to us. I mean, I really felt like he gave me stuff that I can take elsewhere. And in terms of the fight stuff, I think it was the same thing. We rehearsed, we went through, he played to certain strengths, and tried to cover up the weaknesses. But it was amazing. For me, I'd never done it to that extent before, and I'd certainly not been someone that was competent in that moment. I'd usually played people like that were running away. So that was a huge thing. Well, it was a huge difference. I really enjoyed that aspect of the job, actually. And I was surprised by that enjoyment, actually. I loved it.
If you guys each had 3 words to describe the series to someone who has never seen it, what would they be?
Oh, I got it. Okay. Sharp, hearty, heist.
Fast-loving robbery. I mean, it's not that.
No, that was perfect. I love it.
You'll take it.
I really want to see that.
Awesome. Well, that is about time for me to wrap. Thank you guys so much for chatting with me. You are both so lovely to speak with. And again, I really am enjoying the show. I can't wait to see what everybody else thinks.